Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today we are going to be looking at kind of a few little pieces of the Hunter Clade kill team, aka the official kill team of the Admech in Kill Team. So I'm not going to go over everything, I'm not going to go over every single datasheet. That's something you can do in your own time. But kind of, I figured I'd put this out there as soon as I could so that I can let you know about how the hobby's going to go, exactly what you need, and really that's just this page here. So if you've been building up Admech from the compendium, you're going to be in a pretty good place. Basically, you get one leader, which can be any, it could be the Ranger, the Vanguard, or either of these Sicarians. And then you get 9 options, and we'll go over those options in a second. By in a second, I think I mean now, but also just so you know, as I'm not going over everything, I'm going to talk about the list building, a few of their special thing, which is their Doctrina Imperatives, and maybe have a few quick looks at some of their ploys, but that's it. I'm not going over everything here. And then I'm going to have a little talk at the end about kind of what this means going forwards for every team. I think, because this is like our third data point, right? So we've seen the compendium, we've seen what one of the real big box sets factions are going to look like, and now we've seen what a White Dwarf faction is going to look like. So perhaps we can start drawing out some actual conclusions about what this means for getting your hobby done. I think it's kind of good. Don't get me wrong. That's for the end. That's what I'm going to talk about then. But first, if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. Subscriber only, guys, so if you want that wholesomeness in your life, subscribe now, leave a like and a comment, that would be great. Okay, this is pretty much what you'd expect. You pick one leader, the alphas or the princeps. They're kitted out exactly as you'd expect. In fact, I will say this, I'm not going to show you the datasheets, but that's because almost all of the datasheets are identical to the compendium. They haven't done anything crazy there. However, if you're looking at this thing here, you might notice there are a few extra options. I am going to show you a few of them. So, I'm not going to go over specifics. Here's how they've done it. They've combined this kill team into a single kill team now, much like they've done for Vet Guard and for Commandos. You now just have the one kill team. So we can assume that this is how they're going to be doing all of the kill teams going forwards. There are no take this fire team and this fire team. There is just you have one fire team, but it's got a much larger way of building the one fire team, as opposed to you have 2 fire teams, but 3, 4 total options, put them together as you want. That makes sense. It's fine, it's a different way of doing it. We have marksmen, dictat, gunners, and surveyors. Now, the ranger marksmen and the vanguard shock troopers, to me, seem to be the normal, like the fighter. They're the standard dudes. Then you've got the comms guy, essentially, and you've got the gunner. How do the gunners work in this? I mean, you can read it right there, but I'm making content, right? So the way the gunners work is if you take 2 of them, you can then also take 3 or more Sicarians. If you take 3 gunners, you're limited to 3 Sicarians. I believe that's right. And with all of the guns, you can't double up. So this is actually a change from the compendium faction, where you were able to double up by taking a Rangers team and then also a Vanguard team. You could double up your plasmas, your arc rifles, etc. This one, no can do. So that's fine. You can also only have 1 dictat and 1 surveyor. So that's 1 from the Ranger, 1 from the Vanguard. Cool. And that's it. That's pretty much all you need to know for this building. This is their special ability. Just like how the Commandos are able to charge whilst concealed, and the Vet Guard have access to, what are they called? Tactical assets. The special ability of the Hunter Clades are Doctrina Imperatives. For those of you that don't know, these tie in, I believe, relatively closely with 40k. It's one of those things where you get both a plus and a negative. Let's see what they are. The way these work is at the beginning of the round. So at the beginning of the first turning point, you select one of these. And then at every other strategy phase, so every turning point, you can choose, if you want to, to change it. But then that's it, you can only change it twice. You can only change it once. So all of them are a positive and a negative. Let's read through them because these are, this is going to define how you play your team, and presumably when you're list building, you're building your list knowing what you're going to take and when, whatever those actions, those triggers are to make you switch over. Protector Imperative. Each time a friendly Hunter Clade operative makes a shooting attack and the rolled attack dice step of that shooting attack, before any other rerolls, if you roll 2 or more failed hits, you can reroll one of your attack dice. But then the negative, each time a friendly Hunter Clade operative fights in combat and the rolled attack dice step of that combat, for any other rerolls, you must reroll one of your critical hits. So obviously, if you're shooting, take that one. If you're fighting, do not take that one. Simple. That's the shooting buff. Conqueror Imperative. Each time a friendly fights, this is the opposite. So the first one, Protector Imperative, shooting. Conqueror Imperative, fighting. Cool. Bulwark Imperative. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Hunter Clade operative, in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack before any other rules take effect, if you roll 2 or more failed saves, okay, I think we're seeing the pattern here, right? You can reroll one of your defense dice. However, then the negative is subtract circle from your movement. Cool. So you can reroll a defense dice, assuming that you absolutely failed that roll. But because of that, everyone is only moving 2 circle. Then you have Aggressor Imperative. Add triangle to the movement characteristic of friendly Hunter Clade operatives. Now that's pretty big, that's good. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly, blah blah blah, defense dice cannot be automatically retained as a result of cover. They must be rolled instead. Okay, fair enough. So you move a little bit faster with all of your guys, but then you can't get the automatic retention of a cover save. Cool. And then at the bottom, there's Equalized Imperative. You can't see it there, but that is just nothing. So that's your, nope, I don't want to play any of these negatives, so I'm doing nothing. You don't get a positive, you don't get a negative. Now we go to Strategic Ploys. Here we go. Can we zoom in any further? Yes, we can, a little bit. So just to quickly kind of sum up what we just read there, I think they were all pretty obvious when you'd use them. If you've decided to go pretty heavy on the shooting, you go with the first one. If you've gone heavy on combat, you go with the second one. I can't see anybody starting with the third one. I don't think that's a starter, just because you need that movement in turn 1, probably turn 2. So don't, that's, if you want to go into that one, use that later in the game. Sure. It doesn't cost to change, by the way, it's just you can only ever change once. So, okay. Strategic Ploys and Tactical Ploys. Strategic Ploys. Martial Protocol. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Hunter Clade Vanguard operative, so this is Vanguard only, this part, that is within white of an objective marker or within red of your opponent's drop zone makes a shooting attack, in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll one of your attack dice. Each time a friend, is this just going to be the same? Roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll one of your attack dice. So they, oh okay, it doesn't have, right, gotcha. So the Vanguard there have the limitation of distances, whereas the Rangers are just, if you haven't moved, you can do a thing. So obviously that's pretty good. Getting to reroll some attack dice, nice. Accelerant Agents, this is Rust Stalkers only. You can perform a free fight action during that activation, and also it can perform 2 fight actions during that activation. Ooh, that's interesting. So obviously all of your Rust Stalkers are 2 APL. This is a big issue for a lot of 2 APL teams. How do you gain access to being able, how do you become killy enough that you can shoot twice, fight twice like Marines can do? Apparently this is how. So Rust Stalkers are now essentially able to, when you need, like when you're in that turn 2, turn 3, you've got some charges on the board about to happen, you pop this bad boy. You basically become 3 APL and you are going to charge, fight, fight. However, don't forget that you need to make sure you're actually killing the models quick enough. So how are you fighting twice? So this isn't as good as it initially seems just right off the bat. But if you have an enemy that's bunching up and you charge, you get into 2, this is perfect. But don't forget that obviously your Rust Talkers are relatively fragile, so if you're going into anything tougher that you can't kill in 2 hits, you're probably not actually going to use this to its full extent. Neurostatic interference. Until the end of the turning point, while an enemy operative is within red of a friendly Hunter Clade Infiltrator operative, each time that enemy operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack and the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, your opponent cannot reroll their attack dice. So this is interesting. Obviously, for example, against Grey Knights or anything with Relentless, this is pretty cool, actually, because those weapons, they tend to pay a lot to have Relentless or Ceaseless as a special rule. So if you can turn that off, nice. Calculated approach. Until the end of the turning point, each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Hunter Clade operative that is more than red from enemy operatives, in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, if you retain any critical saves, you can select one of your failed saves to be retained as a successful normal save. Cool. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, you have to be more than 6, which is fine, I think. But being able to turn a crit, this is essentially rending, but for defense, which is pretty nice, I think. So those are the strategic ploys. Over to the tactical ploys. Pursuers, 1 CP. Use this tactical at the scouting step of the mission sequence. Oh. Funky. Okay, so I believe this is the first ploy we've seen that takes effect in the scouting step. Okay. As you can tell, I'm reading this fresh. If you selected the recon option, you can also perform a free dash action with up to 2 friendly Hunter Clade Ranger operatives that are wholly within your drop zone. Okay, so what does this mean? This means you've selected recon, which gives you a free dash. This is saying 1 CP, if you play it, you can dash with 3 models, but it can't be the same model, because presumably with your first recon dash, you would have moved them out of your deployment zone, so you can't chain like a double dash or something. So that's super interesting. Okay, that's on Rangers only. Keep in mind, you can dash 3 of them. Ooh, the possibilities. If you selected the Infiltrate option, which one's Infiltrate? Infiltrate is being able to turn one of your orders from flipping it to the other order. During the first turning point, you can also change the order of up to 2 ready, friendly, very cool. So this means if you're taking some Rangers, instead of flipping just one guy from a conceal to an engage, you play all of the rest of your team. You just have your Rangers sat at the back there, all on a conceal, so basically untouchable. Boom, pop them. Pop them to the engage. They'll be the final 3 models you activate, and you're getting some shots turn 1. And they've basically been untouchable. That seems really strong. Very nice. Command override. Use this tactical ploy when a ready friendly Hunter Clade operative is activated. Select one Doctrina Imperative, which are the ones we just went over, that is not active for your kill team. To the end of the turning point, that imperative is treated as being active for that operative instead of the current active imperative. Perhaps if you are in the one that slows you down, minuses your movement, or if you're a shooting model, you've just been charged, you need to fight, you can flip it. Concealed position. Use this tactical ploy in the setup operative step of the mission sequence. So, once again, this is now the second ploy that takes effect before the actual game begins. This is all in the setup. So you're deploying your operatives. Oh, what's this going to be? I haven't read. I'm interested. Select one friendly Hunter Clade Infiltrator operative. That operative can be set up with a conceal order anywhere in the kill zone. Okay, yeah. I think we know this one. That is within triangle with heavy terrain, more than red, pentagon. I really need to sort out what I'm saying for these. From enemy operatives and the enemy drop zone. That operative cannot have its order changed during the first turning point as a result of the infiltrate option. In the scouting step, you can only do this tactical ploy once. Okay, so this is something very similar to what the cultists from Heretic Astartes get, although it is slightly different. So I don't have it with me, but I believe that the Heretic Astartes have to be more than 6 inches from enemy operatives, but not the enemy drop zone. I might be misremembering that. They might have to also be 6 from the enemy drop zone. My bad. but they don't have this second part. So in theory, with the Heretic Astartes Cultist, you can drop a flamer down, or anyone but a flamer, and then use your infiltrate. No, scouting. No, recon. That's the one. You can use the recon scouting option to, as soon as you drop him down, he can be the one you choose to flip from a concealed to an engage, and then immediately flame someone turn 1. With these ones, they're saying, nope, can't do it. Cool. Also do note, a little bit of rules interest here for you. It says at the end, you can only use this tactical ploy once. The reason it says that is because the limitation of using a ploy once per turn only takes effect once you're in a turn. Outside of a turn, you can use it as much as you want. And then motive, force, vitality. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Hunter Clade operative is activated. That operative regains D3 lost wounds. Okay, so a basic heal thing there. And then we have this. I just want to show here what Omnispex does. So Omnispex, select one friendly Hunter Clade operative visible to and within square, blue, whatever, of this operative. Then select one enemy operative. Until the end of the turn point, each time that friendly operative makes a shooting attack, for that shooting attack, areas of smoke have no effect when determining line of sight to that enemy operative. Interesting. Especially given the discussions we've just been having on Discord. That's good to know. The enemy operative is not obscured. If that enemy operative is the target, that friendly operative's ranged weapons have the no cover special rule. And that's it. There you go. So I'm now done talking about the Admech. I don't have a huge amount more to add. I think these are fine. To be clear, again, there is more in the White Dwarf that I'm not talking about, but this video is running a smidge long. Obviously, they did get their faction tactics, TAC ops, that's what they're called. There's also the narrative side, and there's alongside the faction TAC ops, there's a bunch of measuring gauges that you could, if you wanted to, print out. They've got a nice little graphic on them, and it's the it's the triangle, circle, square, pentagon, correct sized templates for you. So if you want to photocopy them, print them out, laminate them, cool. You don't have to go and buy the expensive plastic. All right, so that's fine. Gosh, what to say? I should have thought about this before I press play, shouldn't I? All in all, I think that actually this seems fine. But it doesn't seem like there was a reason to hold this back from the compendium. I feel like the okay, so let's be clear. I'm really enjoying the compendium, but I don't, and I totally got why they kept back Commandos and Vet Guard. For whatever reason, I felt like there was enough there that, like, yeah, they're a separate thing to the compendium. This kind of feels like it could have been in the compendium. I mean, they added the Doctrina Imperatives, like, worded better, I guess, and that's like their unique thing. I don't feel like they added a huge amount more. I mean, this is essentially still just regular guy, gunner, comms. They also, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. Okay, I need to clarify that. I'm disappointed in that I think I expected more, because I felt like the Vet Guard and the Commandos were the really fleshed out teams, and I felt like I thought every faction was going to be getting, 10 unique models that you can put into the army with crazy special rules and abilities. I think we're now seeing that's not the case, and actually, from what we know, only the big box teams that get like all new models as well are going to get those. Everybody else is going to be not that. Everybody else is going to be this. Again, pure guess. I don't know. But everything else is just going to be basically the compendium, but with slightly more fleshed out rules. Now, on the one hand, that's okay, because it means that I can now, quite safely, I feel, go to my compendium faction that I want to play, build it, and know that it's still going to be valid when the real full rules come out for it. That is a positive thing. I'm okay with that. 2 thumbs up. I actually like that. And in general, obviously, I like the compendium, so I don't feel like I need, 10 completely unique models. However, I was kind of expecting 10 completely unique models, So is this a negative? No, because I actually like the game at the moment, and I like the compendium. So it's not a negative, it's just not what I expected. I was expecting more. But again, with that said, cool. I'm probably going to go and take a look at some teams that I want to flesh out, and I won't have to worry about, oh, but is this going to be invalidated next month when the White Dwarf comes out and I have to go and buy different models? Well, now, no. Probably not. I'm probably safe to go and build some teams. So, it's both good and bad in that way, I suppose. To be clear, I am going to come back to this and talk about Admech in a deeper review, and I actually want to do like a proper faction guide for the release team so far, so for Vetguard, for Commandos, and now for Admech. And I want to do that like fuller than I've done here. This has been me skimming it and like figuring a few things out as I read them to you, So don't consider this a faction guide. This is a White Dwarf preview, not a faction guide. Because I haven't told you any tactics, I haven't told you, So, yeah, interesting. But what do you guys think? Is this good? Is this what you wanted? Do you feel kind of the same as me? Like I guess if I had to summarize my feelings completely, it would be, I expected more, but I don't really like hobby, so this is actually really good for me, now that I think about it. But I kind of put myself in the view of others, and I expect that others want to hobby more, and they wanted those brand new, crisp, fresh models, and this is a negative. Oh, let's talk about that as well. Some people are questioning, are we going to get the priests yet? Blah, blah, blah. I talked about this with Alex from Strategic Advantage on my podcast, Vantage Point, which can be watched live on Twitch or later on my YouTube channel if you're a patron only, so check out my Patreon. Gosh. And we both kind of agreed this isn't the time for the elite options, right? There's not going to be priests, etc. And we were correct. And good. For those that are thinking, oh, White Dwarf is how they're going to release the new models, I don't think so. I think we're going to have a year where we get every faction up to date, and each 3 months, or each quarter of the year, we're going to get a box that has 2 factions in. So we're going to get 1, 2, 3. Hold on, how does maths work? Let me think about that. So we're going to get 9 factions that I assume are going to get brand new models. Then the other 9 are going to be White Dwarf ones that don't get new models. If I had to speculate, none of those factions are going to be getting their elite units. But then year 2 of Kill Team, of which we know nothing about, my guess is that's going to be the elites year. Every faction will then be getting their new cycle of, these are your top tier units. This is your new fire team. And how's that going to work? Is it going to be a whole new fire team, and then we can choose which fire team to take? Or is it going to be something like, if you are a Hunter Clade faction, you can include this fire team alongside your other fire team, and it will just be 1 or 2 extra models, as opposed to you can now choose between, because again, I think this is how they're going to do all the fire teams, all the kill teams. They're going to be however many models, so far they've all been 10. It's still a fire team, so perhaps, unlike the compendium, where the fire teams have been multiple small teams put together, this is how they're going to be. They're just a single fire team with a lot of options. But then, once we get elites, it might just be 1 or 2 models, and that's the fire team. But then, when we're playing those elite missions, you can take 2 fire teams. So, you can take the Skitarii Ranger, whatever, the Hunter Clade, and whatever their additional fire team is, and you take them both. I'm guessing. I don't know. That sounds plausible to me. I think, now that I've had a little bit of a ramble there, I think I'm okay with it. It seems to just be a different way of setting out it's the same models with essentially all the same stats, just with a slightly different mechanic. and fleshed out Ploys and fleshed out faction tac ops. And it gives me a little bit of a boost in the idea that I can go and create some kill teams and know that they won't be invalidated. That's good. You just have to buy a White Dwarf to get them, so it's okay. Am I being too lenient on GW? Or is this what you want? Are you if you're an Admech player, how are you taking this? Are you taking this as, yeah, great? Or you're like, oh man, I wanted my priests back. I wanted blah blah blah. I wanted, 10 unique data sheets, etc., etc. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching till the end. If you made it this far, honestly, I don't know what's up with my channel at the moment, but if you just search in YouTube Kill Team, my channel literally doesn't appear, so I think I messed up the algorithm a little bit. That's really bad for my channel if you can't search me. Discoverability is kind of a key thing for a YouTuber, so if you watch till the end, thank you very much. Yeah. But of course, in return for that watch till the end, I shall give you not only the content you have just received, but also a triple hello. Wow. So wholesome. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. I have no idea what it will be. It might be a tac ops breakdown video, which if you're a patron, you've already seen the script for. Or it might be a summary of the Warhammer World Tournament that I go to this Saturday. Alright guys, we'll talk soon.